All right, thank you all for coming out this evening. This is the Q&A portion of the pastry orientation class. Chef Ryan Hodris here with Chef Ann Lanute to answer whatever questions you all might have. On the off chance, because we might have some people rolling in who have never been to a live session before, I do have just a couple of notes about live session etiquette. For folks who've been here for a while and are old hat, bear with us while we go through the rules, just to make sure that everybody's on the same page. But one thing I wanted to remember to tell you, because I forgot when we did the Meet the Team last week, I've been sending out a link to all of these live sessions through the class webpage. So you were able to just sort of like click there and join the live session. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware. When we get started in January, your chef instructors won't be able to send out that link the way that I've been doing. There's a gremlin in the system that it won't record your attendance unless you click on the link from the actual class page, so like the BK 101 class page. So if you're wondering, oh, why doesn't Chef so-and-so send out the link like Chef Ryan did? That's why. Here in orientation, attendance isn't mandatory, so we don't record attendance. Once you get into your classes in January, attendance starts to be recorded. And I want to make sure that nobody's sort of like waiting for a link to come in the messages and then it never shows. So now that we're all on the same page. But one thing, since we're all here in the classroom, let me go ahead and share my screen. Just a little bit of classroom etiquette. Professional attire means professional. Oh, let me go back. What did I do? Professional attire means professional attire for chefs. So once your chef's jacket comes in the mail, you're more than welcome to wear it. Not a requirement by any stretch of the imagination, but if you're ever a little bit nervous about, is what I'm wearing professional enough for kitchen work, you can't go wrong with your chef's jacket. It's always uniform of the day for us. But aside from that, it's plain clothes, something that you would be welcome in a sort of like a professional kitchen. That's fair game here in class. You do want to make sure that you're keeping your background as neutral as you can. Pretty much everybody who has their camera on right now has a pretty neutral background, which is great. But be mindful if you have roommates or, like little smaller versions of people running around in the background. If they're in the background, they can be a little bit distracting. If somebody turns on a TV in the background, that can be very distracting. So be mindful of that sort of thing. In that same vein, be a little bit mindful of your microphones. Because you might get muted or your camera could be turned off at any time. Please don't take offense if that happens. Chances are we're picking up noise in the background that you're not hearing, whether it's like a fan blowing into your microphone or who knows what. And we want to keep the record as clean as we can for the folks watching in archive land. And somebody might have turned on a TV in the background that you don't know about. That's probably why we wound up turning off your camera. Or you have like your cat is climbing the wall in the background or something like that. So in addition to that, no smoking or vaping of any kind in class. By all means, stay hydrated, drink water, drink coffee while you're here in class, but no adult beverages. And no eating on camera. It's basically like your regular, if you wouldn't do it in a regular traditional in-person class, we don't want you to do it here. That having been said, if you just got off work and you're like, Chef, I'm starving and I need to eat this sandwich, go ahead and turn your camera off, enjoy your sandwich while you're listening into class, and then turn it back on when you're finished. So that having been said, the plan of the day for today is Q&A, so questions and answers. So I hope you all came with questions about orientation, questions about when we get started in January, questions in general. What do you got for us?
We love hearing from you directly, but if you're somewhere where you can't unmute yourself, or you're welcome to type something in the chat and I can read it, because I guarantee you've got a question, somebody else is thinking it too. But apparently maybe not Kevin. All right, Kevin, what's going on? Did you have a question? I'm not hallucinating, am I? Not yet? Too early?
Right, before we started the record, Kevin, you said you had a question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, well, yeah. It seems to me I remember on Zoom there's a way to click something to raise your hand, and I can't find it.
All right, that's perfect. That's so if you're looking at me and you mouse over my face, there should be a bar that pops up on the bottom that says like mute, stop video, and so on. There should be a button that says participants. If you click on that, a second screen will open up. down at the bottom of that second screen, you'll see the option to raise your hand. So if everybody wants to try that out, go ahead and throw your hands up now. Yeah, see, Hannah's got it figured out. That's, I'm glad that you asked that, Kevin, because that's when you get started in January, you're going to find that that's the best way to get your chef's attention if you have a question or a comment, because, it's sometimes, especially if you get a bunch of people showing up to a session, the screens get kind of small and it's hard to notice someone waving their hand in the camera. If you throw your electronic hand up, there's no way to miss it. So thank you. Thank you, Kevin.
Thank you.
No, that was a good one. Now we see hands. Now, I don't know if those were are they testing hands or real questions? What we got? Hannah, is that a question, which I would love.
Good.
Let's see. No? Let's see. Hannah, let's see. We'll come back. Heather? No? All right. Sonia, let's try that. I'll make my way through this list. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. Sonia, did you have a question?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, go for it.
I'd like to know if the class will start at the same time every week we have live section.
Chef, you want to answer that?
Sure. So I don't recall what the live session times will be once we get started in January, but the time that you have for week 1 is going to be the same time and the same day throughout the entire class. So not that this is the time, but let's say, for example, if you were meeting like we are today, Monday at 6 p.m. Central, which isn't going to happen because our live sessions always happen on Wednesdays and Thursdays, but that it'll be that time throughout. If for any reason the live session time is going to change, your chef instructors will let you know well ahead of time. So let's say, for example, we just got past Thanksgiving. If you had a live session on Thursday, we're not going to make you come to class on Thanksgiving. So we'll give you an alternative time well ahead of time. That way you'll know what time to come into class.
Thank you, Chef.
That was a good one. You know what though? Well, we're going to put this in the chat, but Baking 101, again, we've got 2 chef instructors. One will be Chef Susie and the other will be Chef Jennifer. Both of them are hosting their Baking 101 on Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Central Time. So for your Baking 101 class, 5 p.m. Wednesdays. The times for your CE 115 class will be visible when you log into your preview week on January 6th. The time won't be set until then, but when you log in, you're kind of one or the other. You get Chef Susie or Chef Jennifer, and then the information will be available to you. But that's a 6-week class. It will stay the same for all 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And one of the other questions that we normally get that's like a companion to that question is, Chef, I have work at that time. What do I do? Just like we're doing right now, we record every single live session that we take part in, and it's posted in the archive on the class page, just under the week where the class was held. That will count towards attendance. So let's say, for example, if you have work during the BK 101 live session, you can tune in either that evening or the following morning, watch it from beginning to end, and it'll mark you as there. And if you have any questions, something comes up in the live session that you wish you'd been there so you could ask the question, shoot your chef instructor a text message. They're happy to help out. That's what we're here for. So don't ever feel like, oh, I watched the archive, now I can't ask questions. That is not the case. Absolutely ask questions.
Yep. That's good. All right.
All right. Heather, did you have a question?
Okay, maybe a test hand. All right.
Kevin, did you have another question?
Yes. Everything, so as far as textbooks are all ebooks, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Is there any hard back versions of anything out there that you would suggest, or because I'm just curious?
So there is a hardcover version of the book that we use, The Professional Baking by Wayne Gislin. We use we don't provide it, so it's something that you'd have to go out and find yourself.
Right.
We use the 9th edition, so that just to make sure that your version of, say, chapter 10 is the same version as our version of chapter 10. You would want to make sure that you're reading all the same material. But yeah.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then Sunji, did you have a question? Did you have a question?
Yes,
Go for it.
mix. Hold on one second. Let me unmute myself here.
You're unmuted.
Can you
I
hear me?
you.
Okay, great. I guess my question was, well, what point do I need my stand-up mixer? Because I was looking at the list of items that I need to do to get, and right now I'm kind of going back and forth between, do I need a, the 3.5 quart, 5 quart, so I just kind of want to know what I need.
Sure. So the only assignment where the first assignment where you will be able to use a stand mixer would be in week 3. But need is a strong word because you could also use a hand mixer, and a lot of stuff that we do you can do just with the original stand mixer. So it's one of those things where it makes it handy. It's nice to have. It's certainly convenient, but it's not a requirement. It makes life easier for a lot of the assignments that we do. I don't know, Chef Ann, if you had anything that you wanted to add on that.
Yes, I mean, you can do a lot of these. Some are just going to take a lot more time if you're whipping meringues by hand. Can it be done? Yes, like Sophia did it without it. But it's just, you just have to be very patient and put the arm work in, and you can do it. I will say that if you have the ability to get a stand mixer, it is a worthy investment. You will use it more than you think you will. And they do, quality ones will last you decades. So if it's within your means, but you can still do the assignments if you have one. That being said, there is a shopping list in orientations also posted in Baking 101, and it goes over what you need week by week. And when we say, I mean, there are some pieces that are required, so make sure you're looking at that. We're flexible on some things, maybe like portion scoops. Do I need this? Does it have to be like a 2-ounce scoop? No, we can work with you on that. But when you get to say week 8, I think it's week 8, where you're doing creme brulee, you need something with which to brulee, okay? So you're going to need a kitchen torch. It doesn't have to be anything expensive. There are little camping ones for like less than $5 that'll work, okay? But you will need a torch, and we don't just use it for like creme brulee. We'll be using it with unmolding, like mousse cakes in the future, and cheesecakes, and like that. So, but do check that. You have some time to kind of come across some of those other things in the latter half. But as far as getting your preliminary kits and anything, there is nothing that you need in those kits that you need for the first like 5 weeks of the program. So, get some parchment, but there's no special piece of equipment that is coming along that you'll need to do to be successful in the first few weeks.
Right. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. I was being indecisive
Yeah.
on which one.
Yeah.
Right. And then Sonia, you had your hand up again, but did we answer that question?
Yes, I'm good. I'll
Say
say.
again.
Oh, look,
Okay.
I've got Sonia and Sonji.
Sorry, I'm confusing everybody over here. Cassandra, you have your hand up?
Yeah, so speaking on like the tools and all that, I saw in the orientation stuff there was a toolkit that we're going to be sent. Will we receive everything even though we have some stuff already? Because I have a lot of those things at home. So will this be sent either way?
Yes.
So yeah, the kit that gets sent is standardized. So like, for example, if you already have a kitchen knife, we're still going to send you a kitchen knife. Yeah, that's just the kit that they send you out is pretty standard.
Okay, and can I ask a second question real quick?
Of course.
I know last week you also said you would like us to share like some pictures with you if we like make something outside of class. How would we do that per se?
So you've done, I'm guessing, because I'm almost positive, but you did your practice assignment already?
Yes.
So you would upload photos of whatever it is that you want to share into a folder on your Google Drive.
Okay.
And then, somebody's making some noise here. Then you would share that link. You could either message it out to your chef instructor, and your chef instructor could share it with everybody, or you can share it in, let me go ahead and show you where a lot of classes wind up sharing their work, in the Ask Your Question Here discussion forum, where you can just sort of like create your own new topic and have the topic be, here's a pie I made, or here's a cake I made, or here's, I'd love to hear feedback, like that sort of thing. So the easiest way though is by sharing the link to a Google Drive folder, because then people are able to see everything.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
No problem. thought I saw another hand go up. Yeah, Selena, you have a question?
No.
There's two Selenas in the group.
All right, the
Oh,
one
okay.
who had their hand up. You have a question?
Okay, that was the other Selena then. That wasn't me.
No.
What can we do for you? Did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so there's a couple of good questions in the chat here. So as far as the stainless steel bowls, it says multiple bowls, a varying size. You don't need multiple bowls of the same size. Get a small, get a medium. You're gonna need like a big one where we're doing mousse because you need a lot of room to be gentle as you're folding mousse, but you're also gonna need some smaller ones. We recommend stainless steel. Plastic traps fat and bacteria, all types of little cracks. And I don't care if you put it through your dishwasher, it's still going to trap fat and germs and even soap residue. So stainless steel is excellent for being a good clean canvas for your work, particularly egg whites. Glass bowls are okay too. I'm accident prone, so I don't use glass bowls because they're heavy and they get slippery, and then I'm going to have a mess on my hands to clean up. That's me. Maybe you're not as accident prone enough. Good, great. Glass or stainless steel for our products. And then same with whisks. Small ones are great, but when you're going to be doing some sauces, you are going to want a long-handled whisk to protect your hands from whatever is steaming, particularly caramel, inside those pots. Going to make a difference. It gets toasty in there. So, oh, also, yeah, the book, we use Professional Bake by Wayne Gislin. We're currently using version 7. Version 6 is nearly identical if you want to get a hard copy of that. But as Chef Ryan was saying, I don't know what that other textbook is like. I just know what we're currently using. So I would recommend, you'll have an e-copy of it available to you to download. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right. Then we had a couple more hands up in the chat. Sonia, you had another question?
Yes, I did. Can you go, I'm sorry, I heard what you guys said about the book, but I guess I'm missing. I don't know, is that posted somewhere about the book? I didn't see it anywhere. And then I didn't understand which book you were talking about.
So yes, the link to the book, so we provide the PDF of the book, so it's electronic, and that's going to be available on your BK 101 main class page when you get started in January 6th.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if I just missed it when in my reading or something.
No, we don't have it in orientation quite yet.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
All right, and then Sonia, you had a question?
Oh, muted. Hold on.
Oh.
Okay, there you go. Let's see. Sonia?
Yes.
Oh, there you are.
Can I have the name of the book? If I need to get a hard copy in case, because sometimes if I'm somewhere, I can use, like when I'm at work, I can use the online one. But if I'm not at work, I can use a hard copy one.
Sure, I just put it in the chat for you then. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
And then there was a question in the chat, are we going to have a class on macarons? So not an entire class, but that will be an assignment once you get into BK 141. In BK 101, you will be making macaroons, which are completely different from macarons, except the name is very similar. But yes, you will get experience making those cookies.
Okay. Thank you.
So I just got sort of like private message the question, how long will it take for the first toolkit to arrive? So once you've gotten everything taken care of with financial aid and you've ordered your chef's jacket through the orientation class page, that's sort of like what kickstarts the kit to be sent your way. So one, double check that you've done both of those things. If you're a little bit nervous that, oh, wait a minute, do I have something left? Get a hold of financial aid and double check to make sure that you've sent your chef's code order. Outside of that, if you're sort of like, okay, I have all of that done and now I'm waiting, you can, because depending on where you are, the shipping times vary. So it's hard to say, oh, it takes X amount of time for it to get there. But you can contact shipping at escoffier.edu Let me go ahead. I'm putting that down in the chat.
Mhm.
And if you email them, they'll be able to give you sort of like a general ETA or a tracking number in order to get a better idea of when your shipment is going to come.
But as Jess was saying, there are a number of students in orientation that haven't ordered your chef coat yet. So do make sure that you do that so that, like as Chef was saying, it triggers it and then it'll send you your first kit. And then once you're past our 4-week conditional enrollment policy, if you are passing your classes and staying with us, then that second part of the kit will ship. So, all right, cool. That's thank you very much. Awesome.
And this is where you go in order to order your chef coat, in case you were wondering.
Mm. And again, they are roomy, not a fashion statement. They're functional. They are not tapered. Sorry, ladies, they're boxy, but functional. If for any reason you want to exchange it, there's a $20 restocking fee, and you would use that shipping address that Chef Ryan put in the chat. Mm-hmm. Yep. So.
And then there was a question for all the tools we need. They're going to be there in that orientation file. Yeah, on the shopping list for your first class. So for BK 101, everything is listed in that sort of like shopping list. It's pretty much going to cover you for the remainder of the program.
Yeah. There's very, very few things that would come after that. Cassandra, you had your hand up?
Another question.
Yeah.
I'm going to be question central probably. I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
But speaking to the textbook, are we able like to print like the sections off and like highlight that way? Or is it just stay on the computer?
No, so it's a PDF. So if you have a printer that's capable of printing off PDFs and you don't mind running through however many pages, yeah, you can print it off, absolutely.
All right, awesome. Thank you.
So Heather's iPhone was asking, is it okay to get the digital copy of the textbook? That's actually what we provide, is the digital copy, so it'll come to you as a PDF. Selena was asking, will the instructor always send a link? Like we were talking about at the top of the hour, I don't know if you just popped in, but they are not going to be able to send you a link like I've been doing. You're going to have to go to the classroom page in order to find the live session Zoom link in order for your attendance to be counted. All right, so here's an interesting question. I noticed that you recommend that we use cleaning and sanitation buckets. What if we use a sanitation spray? Can we opt out of the bucket? Now, if you're making your own Sani solution and you're using a spray bottle instead of a bucket, that's 100% fine, but you have to keep making new solution every week. You can't sort of like let the solution sit in a bottle for week after week after week, because the bleach starts to lose effectiveness over time and it turns just back into funny smelling water after X amount of time. So yeah, I recommend using the bucket because it's easier to change it out. And I know Cassandra was actually talking in a previous live session how a lot of places will make you change out sanitizer
Every couple
solution
hours.
after every however many hours. And it's if you're emptying out a bucket or a bottle and then putting a funnel back in order to put in more, it's just a pain. In a bucket, it's much easier.
Yeah. And you're less apt to grab it and spray your cat by accident, right? I mean, just saying.
Exactly. Christine, you have your hand up?
I do. Purell makes a surface sanitation spray. Do you know that?
No, I'm not familiar with it, but we use a bleach testing strips, so it would have to be a bleach. And
Okay.
it's listed
Well,
how much to mix it.
This actually, it eliminates the norovirus, salmonella, E. coli, hepatitis A within 60 seconds, and some other things as well. So I was thinking if we just keep that on hand, because I sanitize my cabinets all the time with bleach, but I found this and I thought maybe it might be easier.
So let's say, for example, if you run out of testing strips for whatever reason, like the cat knocked it into the dishwater and now they're all ruined or something like that, the pre-made sanitizers will work. We don't want you to lose points or not use sanitation just because you lost your test strips. But the sort of the concentration with the test strip is one of the things that we actually grade you on. And I don't want you to lose points because you're not using your Sani strip week after week after week. So by all means, use it. We're not going to stop you from using it when you're there in your own kitchen. but also like make the sanitizer solution with the bleach too, because that's what gets used out in the industry, and we want to make sure that you're prepared.
Yeah, definitely. So
Is there a specific type of sanitizer?
No, it's just going to be bleach.
just
I
bleach.
recommend using unscented bleach. We do between 50 and 100 parts per million is how we test it. And so I get like the big gallon bucket of the store brand bleach because it lasts forever. And I go unscented because if you're wiping down your counter, you don't want, say it's lavender scented bleach, you don't want your bread dough to start smelling like lavender. So unscented is going to be your best bet.
Yeah,
All right, thank you.
No problem.
good point. Lavender scented French bread, right?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
These baguettes
Let's
smell
see.
like a swimming pool. What's up with that?
Yeah, let's see. Charlena, did you have a question? Hold on, I saw Charlena. I saw a gesture. All right, you go.
The sanitizer, because I have to use that little red bucket at the store, but I have the tablets, and I have to use the strips. So can I still use that for this?
Are you using like a quat at your work? Something like that?
Say it again.
Are you using a Quatricide at your work?
No, it's I can't think of what it's called, but there's the little blue tablets that I have to drop in my sink, in my sanitized sink, and then I have to test it with the strip.
Right. I would say if you can get the name or take a picture and just send it to us, just so we're aware of what it is. We do have students that are submitting their work, like maybe from work, like their employer lets them do their assignments there or something, and maybe that's a Quatricide kitchen. That's an industry, that is definitely an industry standard sanitizer, but it requires specialty strips. So I would say just make sure what you're using for that. Listen, we're happy to take a look at it, or if you want to get a picture of the box and the strip, and we'll just check it. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if you're using something besides the bleach too, that's something that you want to take, sort of like make your chef instructor aware of. That way, when you do have your photo, and Joanna actually has a question that is somewhat attached to this. You want to make sure that they know that they're not looking for the bleach strip just ahead of time. That way, you're not surprising them. But Joanna was asking, I'm allergic to bleach. What can I do? Chef, what do you recommend?
Well, I would definitely need a letter from your physician about your allergy in this case, and hearing what appropriate products you are permitted to use. I will say it's a bit difficult to not be around bleach in the industry. It's not impossible, but again, maybe we could look at an alternate industry-friendly sanitizer for you then in that situation. But like, I forget what a lot of the different names, and some of them are like herbal, or those are going to maintain a safe level of microorganisms, and we do want to make sure that everybody is safe and practicing professional standards. So just you can forward it straight to me. I'll put my email here in the box, and you can just have the doctor's letter sent straight to me, and we'll figure out an appropriate solution for your medical needs. So I'll put that here now.
There was sort of like an add-on question to that. Is Mrs. Myers okay to use? A lot of those types of things, I didn't even know what Mrs. Myers was. I had to sneak over and Google it. That's more of a soap than a disinfectant. It might be a disinfectant soap, but that's not exactly what we're looking for. So if you're looking at something like a soap, you could use it for hand washing. Then that's 100% fine. But again, for our sanitizer, unless there's an allergy that you have to contend with, we're looking for that bleach solution. The test strips get sent in your first kit, so you don't have to order them. If they don't come in time for week 1, don't freak out. There are alternatives that we could use for week 1 that'll get addressed when you have your first live session in January.
Yeah, that's a good one though. But and live sessions, they're not graded. We do check for attendance, but we get it. You guys are all over the globe in some cases. So, and you work, and sometimes you might want to sleep too. That's totally okay. So, we'd love to have you in class. We hope you can. But if you can't, you're not penalized for it. Just The archive sometimes might take a couple hours for it to be posted, but the chefs are prompt about putting it up, so watch it. And then you're free to reach out to your instructor if you have lingering questions after watching the archive.
All right. Joanna, did you have another question, or is that an old hand? Oh, I'm thinking it was an old hand. All right.
Kind of quiet.
Crickets, yeah.
I know.
With every assignment, do we have to take a picture of the test strips for the folder? At 100% absolutely you do. And I'm glad that you bring that up, because that's, let's say, for example, if you're taking your sanitizer picture every week, your red bucket or your sandy bucket or whatever it is that you're using, it looks the same. A red bucket's a red bucket's a red bucket. So how do you make sure that your chef instructor knows that you're taking a new photo every week? And an easy way to do that is to do something like this. Give me 1 second while I knock out my version of it. Basically, you get a little sheet of paper, I don't know if you can see this, with the week and the date on it, and you put it in the background of the photos you're taking, which is really handy for your sanitizer photos. It's really handy for your self-ID, because unless you're a master of disguise, you look like you every single week. So it really is one of those things where one of the issues that we often have with brand new students is they take the same picture of their sanitizer and their same picture of themselves in the same place, in the same kitchen every single week, and it starts to look like you're recycling photos, which is against the rules here. It's sort of like plagiarism. If you're putting that placard or that card into those photos, there will never be any question of plagiarism. There'll never be any question of recycling photos, because if you have those mad Photoshop skills, I don't know. I don't think we'd be able to make much of a difference. But it's better if you're able to keep that card in there like that.
Oh, wow. A couple of really good questions in the chat here. So using the app, you can access live sessions easily and messaging for the app. If you attempt to submit your assignments through the Escoffier app, you will have difficulty with the production notes. The production notes form is not, you cannot edit it on a mobile device. You will need to be at a Chromebook or a computer. So you do need a Chromebook or computer for this program. But the app is good for quick messaging to your instructor, maybe a quick checking of grades, or if you're on the move, watching the archive. But be on a computer Chromebook for your assignment submission. Also, so there's some questions about, being away, right? Whether it's, you're having a baby or you're going on vacation. We do have, again, our attendance policy. We have late assignment policies. We talked about this a little bit last week. For anybody out there that is expecting a baby, I would say talk to your coach. There are options to put you on a short leave of absence from the program, which kind of just freezes you in time with the class start. You're not like going to fail a class or anything. But we still have deadlines every week, and it's important to kind of stay on track. But definitely a short-term leave of absence is something that can be done for medical emergencies, military leave, things of that nature. Only certain things qualify for a leave of absence, but we do have a number of students that do require that they take them at some point, because life sometimes happens. If you are traveling, though, or are going to be away from your classes for more than 14 consecutive days, you will be hearing from us. We do not want you withdrawn for non-attendance. So please respond to us. We're here to help. We really are. Sometimes, again, life throws you a curveball, and maybe, you just haven't been able to focus on your studies. We're here to help get you back on track. But our hands are tied after 14 straight days of no participation. And no participation in something that counts for attendance, like a live session like we're here, or an assignment, or a quiz. So you just know that all of us are here to help your coaches, your instructors. We want you to be successful. So if we're calling, it doesn't mean that it's bad news. Sometimes we're just checking in on you because it's a little quiet out there from you. We want to make sure everything is okay. So, yeah.
So there was one question. Monica was asking, what is the difference between the pastry narrative notes and the culinary narrative? Monica, if you're coming over to us from the culinary side of the house, the pastry narrative is completely different. You'll see some crossover of subject matter, but it's a spreadsheet and it's formatted completely differently. If for some reason, I mean, I know a lot of times people will see in my videos that I send that I have 2 narratives. That's only because I'm in orientation in pastry and also in orientation in culinary. While you're in the pastry program, you're only going to be responsible for the pastry narrative. You do not have to sweat the culinary narrative unless you transfer over and go to them after we're done. One other question. I ordered my Chromebook through the school at the beginning of last week. How long does it take to arrive? Chef, I'm not sure. Would they check with shipping for that as well?
Check with shipping. It's still typically, I think, at least like 2 weeks type of a thing is what we tend to look at. But shipping can, again, you'll get a tracking number and all that. Just you've paid for it. They don't ship every day. I think they ship, I think, once or twice a week for those, but I'd have to check. Best place, honestly, though, is the shipping department. Scott Wiederman is our shipping person, and he is responsive and will get back to you. Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
And there was actually an interesting question that I just got. Chef, I'm having trouble with submitting my practice assignments because of X, Y, and Z. What do I do? The short answer is text me, and I'll do what I can to help you out. The slightly longer answer is I have office hours tomorrow between 3 and 4 p.m. Central. Pop on in. It's going to be under the big green arrow that's on the main orientation class page. Pop on in. I'll be happy to help out. Otherwise, I just sit quietly at my computer waiting for you all to show up. So, yeah, it's just pop on in. I'll be happy to help you. And Cassandra, I believe that they send tracking numbers via your email. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
All right. Do we have any other questions?
Let's see. So are you guys interested in, Sanji, I got it.
Sanji.
All right, I'll get there.
No worries. Okay, so, all right, I know there was a lot of material, and I just want to be clear.
Yes.
So I heard you, from what I understand, class starts on January 8th, but I just heard Chef Ryan say something about January 6th. It was your Chef Ryan said something about that we need to do on January 6th. So at the end of the day, what is class from Wednesday to Tuesday, or is it Monday to Sunday?
So class is from Wednesday to Tuesday. So your class officially begins on Wednesday the 8th. However, your class material is going to be available for you to preview on the 6th, because there's no point in keeping you waiting. You might as well jump in if you want to. But nothing will be due on the 6th. You don't have to jump in and fill anything out or anything like that. Just log in on Monday if you have time and click around and familiarize yourself with the class page. That way on Wednesday, nothing comes as a surprise.
Okay, great. I just want to just be clear.
Yeah, and the other thing is your chef instructors will still be on their winter break on January 6th. They'll be back on the 8th. So if you're posting messages to them, they won't get them until the morning of the 8th when classes start. And, they'll both have live sessions that Wednesday evening, which is where just hang tight. A lot of the questions about what do I do and what should I be doing? There is time, but just when nobody's ignoring you, we're just on break. Yeah.
Thank you.
And then there was one question, will there be more than one class a week? So each individual class that you're enrolled in will have one live session every week. But when you get started, you're going to be enrolled in 2 classes. It's going to be BK 101 and CE 115. So there will be 2 live sessions, 1 for each class, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Sometimes the chefs, if there are a number of questions or, something needs more additional coverage, the chefs will often host what we'll call a bonus session. Those are not in any way required. And sometimes they pop out, like maybe you're in class on Wednesday and everybody's like, we'd like to talk about this more. So maybe the chef sets up something for, Friday evening. Not required that you go, but they're recorded and you can access the info from them. Also, our tutor, Chef Francie, you'll be meeting her in your classes. She does host some live sessions in the first week on how to submit your assignments. Those are super important. So if you have any, I know submitting something in orientation is one thing, but your assignments, there's a little bit more involved. And maybe if you did the practice assignment all now, and then a few weeks from now, you're like, okay, I know I did it, but now I forgot how I did it. So Francie will be around to help walk you through those. She's a great resource as well if you need one-on-one tutoring for, baker's math or your core classes. She's here. There's no charge. You just set up an appointment with her. There's going to be a link in your core classes and also Bacon 101, just straight to her calendar, and you can pick a time that works for you. So don't be shy. She's amazing. She's a super lady. So feel free to take advantage of that service that we offer too. Yep.
And so Kevin was asking a question, does it make sense to purchase flour in bulk for class? I would, but don't feel like you have to, especially if you have a smaller kitchen. Don't feel like if you don't have the storage for it, it's not a requirement. I do it because it saves money, but at the same time, I have a big pantry, so I have room for it. If you don't have room for it, don't feel like it's a requirement. Marina was asking, is there going to be a schedule for classes? Yeah, it's the weekly schedule runs from Wednesday to Tuesday every week, and the class times and stuff are all going to be listed on that main class page.
Chef Ryan, just to clarify, I just posted the one that shows just the block by block, not week by week. Block by block, I would print that up because maybe a few weeks from now you'll forget what you have coming down the line. This one, it's in orientation, but again, bookmark it, print it up. It shows you what you have and when, so that there's no question. It's just a good little refresher, like, hey, by the way, when do we get to artisan breads? Well, I'll tell you. So let's see. Jennifer, you have your hand up. What's up, Jennifer?
Okay. Hi, yeah, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, perfect. So we were talking about equipment. One of the questions that I have is, do we get knives sent to us too? Is that part of the baking and pastry part, like for maybe some of the cuts for any fruits that we're doing? Does that get sent out with the chef's jacket? And if for whatever reason it doesn't get sent out in time, are the knives that we have on hand at home okay to use, or does it have to be like a specific type of blade, serrated or inch?
Gosh, that's a really good question. So you will be getting a slicer. I will say though that at least for your first assignment, use what you're comfortable with. We're going to send this chef knife your way, and it's a beast. Not going to lie. A lot of people look at it and you're like, I'm going to lob off a finger. That's it. I'm going to lose a finger entirely. And Chef Ryan, I think we're still okay. I don't think we've had anybody lose a digit yet in 5 years. I think we're good. I'd like to keep that up though. But honestly, if you've got a small paring knife that you're comfortable working with to do that, that's fine. Sharp is better than dull. More accidents happen with dull knives, right? But use what you're comfortable at first, and then you will get used to using that big old behemoth of a chef knife, I promise. But for something like your orange knife, this knife skills you'll be doing on an orange, just a small kitchen knife that you have will be fine. You'll probably feel more comfortable with it too. I don't know.
So I had somebody private messaged me a question. Are the classes all day or just those scheduled times and days? So our live sessions run between 45 minutes and an hour. Sometimes they'll run a little bit long, but we try to keep that from happening as much as we can because we don't want to jam up anybody's schedule. But other than that, we have set tasks that you have to get through week to week, and we have deadlines for assignments that are due. But otherwise, our work works around your schedule. So, it's if you work all day and you can't get into the kitchen until 6 at night, that's fine. We don't set you sort of like to a specific schedule. We want to make sure that you're hitting those deadlines. So your practical assignments are always going to be due Tuesday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time every single week. Your daily quiz or your weekly quizzes are always going to be due on the same time. Your discussion forums are always going to be due at the same time. So it's the schedule in which you get those accomplished is up to you. The flexibility of this program. But the live sessions themselves do not run all day. They run for the set time. But again, if you're at work or something and you can't attend a live session, they will be recorded, so you'll be able to review them after the fact.
And we don't like bake with you like in real time. If I move too fast, I'm gonna be out of focus. You'll find out that and I tend to gesture. I'm like, oh, now I'm blurry. But we've got the resource videos for you, and we definitely talk you through and stop those videos at important parts to show you what we're looking at, but we don't do like live baking with you. Just doesn't, nice idea, it just doesn't work out well. But also, you know, we've got required photos for your assignments every week. Make sure you're capturing all of those required photos. We don't want videos though. Actually, photos are easier for us to gauge what's going well and what might not be going well in your assignments, because we can stop it and zoom in and look, and then we're going to do a screen recording of feedback for you where we're pointing these things out. And videos just don't work so well. We're like, oh, nope. So it will be all photo feedback. Make sure you're collecting at least the minimum that we require. And we don't mind seeing more than what we're asking for too. Not gonna lie, like, sure. But you know, if your product, Chef Ryan, what do I say about if your product doesn't work out?
Turn it in anyway. It's in our experience, you learn more from the stuff that doesn't turn out than from the stuff that does. So don't feel like, oh, I wrecked my creme brulee, and now Chef Ryan, this will be the first time he's ever seen a wrecked creme brulee. No, trust me, I've seen enough creme brulees a la Chef Ryan to keep everybody in making new ones. So don't feel like you're the only one who's ever made a mistake. Turn your work in. We'll provide feedback of what we think might have happened, what you could do next time. If you want to try again, you're more than welcome, and we're happy to look at your work. But the important thing is that you understand what happened, and we can't tell you that if you don't turn it in. So turn your work in, no matter the outcome.
I don't care if you got to shut your eyes and click submit. Just that's fine. Well, it's probably, honestly, I know you guys, it's never as bad as you think. You know, emails we get, Chef Ryan, you know, it's like, it was terrible, it was awful. We're like, I wish I did it this well when I was in school. Like, seriously, you guys are you are your harshest critics. I mean, we are too. We get it. So we get it, okay? But hand it in. Let us look at it. Let's give you feedback. If something was wrong, if you try to remake it without getting feedback, how do you know you're not going to make the same mistake again? I don't know what went wrong, but I'm going to make it again. Well, now you're wasting time and money. Let us give you feedback. We can pinpoint what needs to be fixed, and there absolutely is room to improve. There absolutely is. So don't think this is all or nothing in one shot. That's it. No, there is room for improvement. So I know it's like, it doesn't come naturally to us to think that way, but we really do mean it. This is a practice makes perfect industry.
And it's a lot of times we get students who will say, I don't know if this turned out, I think it's terrible. It doesn't look like in the bread class especially, my bread doesn't look like Chef Tom's bread. Like, Chef Tom has done this 2,500 times. You've done this one time. Give yourself a little bit of a break.
Yeah, exactly, right? My cake didn't look like Buddy Velocro's. Nope, it won't. It's fine. You got to work up to that. You just got to do it again and again and again. But that comes with time in the industry. You're here to learn your fundamental techniques, the science behind the baking, your time management, how to be an entrepreneur, all of these things. So don't enjoy the journey. Don't be too hard on yourself.
Exactly. There's a equipment question in the chat, Chef. Do you recommend a silicone or wood cutting board for rolling dough? I personally don't use a cutting board for rolling dough. I do it directly on my work surface. If you're nervous about scuffing up your countertops for whatever reason, you can use a cutting board. I personally do not. I find that it just gets in the way, and you always wind up going over by a little bit, and it leaves a little ridge in your dough. So I just skip that problem and avoid it entirely.
Yep, same here. Straight on the counter.
And out in the industry, 99 times out of 100, you're going to be working on stainless steel worktops, so that's not going to be an issue either way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No. That's good. Oh. Do you guys have any, do we have any people who are working in the industry now, maybe at all, in some way? All right. We got Cassandra, we've got Jennifer, we've got a couple of screens here. See, I'm like trying to go through. Charlena, I know, because sanitizer, I gotcha. Well, that's good. And again, you will be meeting with Career Services. So if you're already working in the industry, there's an excellent chance that what you're doing could be used for your externship. There's a lot of opportunity. We'll be talking about the externship in your classes and with career services, but it really is an exciting opportunity for you. And what a way, like what a send off, you know, before you wrap things up with your diploma. And 13 months is going to go by fast. This time next year, you guys will be gearing up for your externship and then your diploma. So I'm telling you, it will fly. But it is an exciting time. So, but again, not too early to start thinking ahead about where you are and what you want to do and who you want to do that with. But know that if you have questions, particularly about life in the industry, please reach out to your chefs. We're all happy to talk about our experiences too, and what led us here, and just the journey along the way, and including stumbles and falls. Let me tell you, there's not a chef in our program that will not admit that we have messed up a time or two or three or four. Like, it's just happened, and we just kind of laugh about it now. Yeah, oh my gosh, we've had plenty. But we've just learned from them. And as Chef Ryan was saying, you learn more sometimes from your mistakes than you do the stuff that just went beautifully, right? I know I did. So I have dropped a lot of things. I've got baking soda and red velvet cakes, the whole thing. I've done it. Okay. So, all right. Got real quiet, real quiet. No, nothing. You guys are good. Anything that makes you nervous? Seriously? How can we help? No. Nobody's got an Achilles heel in pastry that you're worried about? No.
Chef Ann, what are we going to be doing in week 1?
Let's go.
That's normally the main focus of these Q&As is what are we going to be doing when we get started?
Yeah. Oh, Amy has a good question in the chat about how many chances do you have to submit assignments? What do you say, Chef?
Depending on how early you turn your work in, it's hard to say how many times you're able to. I mean, it really is one of those things where your chef instructors and any evaluators that you're working with, if you're willing to try again, they're willing to look at it again. So if you turn your work in immediately on Wednesday and you're unhappy with the way that it turned out, you could turn it in again on Thursday, on Friday, on Saturday, on Sunday. You're probably not going to have to, because if you do it that many times in a row in 1 week, you're gonna get it eventually. But there's no upward limit of how many times you could turn in a practical assignment. You just want to make sure that if you're turning in the same assignment twice, that you're making sure that your second batch of photos is differentiated from your first batch. So you're putting like a take 2 card in the back of all your photos so that you're able to differentiate between one assignment and the next.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's say, for example, you turn your work in at the last possible second, but it wasn't your best work and you wind up getting maybe not as good a grade as you want. You do have the option, if you so chose, to cash in a makeup assignment to try again. The makeup assignments tend to be reserved for emergencies. So like I couldn't turn my assignment in because my car got hit by a meteor and I had to deal with that. That kind of thing. So I always recommend hanging on to those makeup assignments because you never know when life might happen. However, I know how baking students are, and I know how much a bad grade can sort of stick in the back of your mind. So you also have that option to use your makeup assignments. But the earlier you turn in your work over the course of a week, the more chance you'll have to try again. So that's why we always recommend turning your work as early as you can.
Mm-hmm. We got just a couple more minutes. I do want to talk about, it's slightly an uncomfortable topic, but I want to throw it out there. Again, you are all here because you want a career in the industry as a professional, and we are remote, so we're not standing over your shoulder in a classroom. So academic integrity is absolutely extremely important. So there is never an occasion where taking a photo off the internet is acceptable and passing it off as your own. We will find it. And that's a conversation I don't like to have. There's no reason. If life is throwing you a curveball and you need a little more time or something, reach out to your chef instructor. Again, we're here to help and we understand, but All the work that is in your folder every week that you are submitting needs to be your own, and you need to be the one submitting it, right? Like, I'm sorry, well, my son submits my work for me. No, you need to be submitting. You are responsible for everything in there. So please make sure that everything is your own. For families that have more than one person in this program, everybody needs to be doing their own work. That's the only way to make sure that you're learning the techniques. So if you are ever unsure, there's a student handbook, and you've got your enrollment agreement that you signed. The student handbook is there that you acknowledged. Our policy is in there. Just please don't do it. Enjoy the learning. This isn't about chasing a grade. It's about learning the techniques. And as we were saying, there's always room to improve. So just never unsure. Life gets tough. Please reach out. Don't do it. Okay, that's my PSA. Please don't cheat. And for honestly, wild majority, totally not even an issue. But I'm a mom. It's like I still tell myself, you got a raincoat, you got gloves, you got a hat. And I know he's got them. Like, I probably even see the hat on his head, and I still ask, like, you got a hat on? It's a disorder. It's clinical. So, awesome. Ooh, homegrown or just, another thing, Chef Ryan, some people have chickens and they use their own chicken eggs in the program. Yep. That's a good one. They're tasty. You see, I'm sorry, I see something in the chat.
No, you're fine. It's just make sure they're chicken eggs. We had one person a while back who had ducks, and duck eggs and chicken eggs don't necessarily react the same way in certain formulas. So my recommendation is chicken eggs. If that's an issue for anybody.
No, we're good. Awesome. These are good questions, though.
Absolutely. And so we have like 4 minutes left. So before we get too close to the end of class, just want to remind everybody that I have my office hours tomorrow from 3 to 4 p.m. Central. If 20 minutes from now you're like, oh, I wish I'd asked, jump into office hours. I'll be happy to answer any question that comes up. So. One question, will we be learning cake decorating too, or only baking like mousses and pastries? We have our entire final course before you go into externship is our cake baking and cake decorating course. So you'll get a full course load on decorating cakes using icings and frostings and ganache and gum paste and the whole 9 yards.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great class. I love that class.
Yeah. Yeah. Mm. All right.
Yes, fondant.
Yeah, you guys will work. You will work with fondant. Prepared fondant, not like homemade marshmallow fondant, but prepared fondant is what we use in the industry. You will do a tiered fondant cake with gum paste flowers for your final project before you graduate, which is kind of a really cool send off for sure. Yeah, so that's good.
So to clarify, Selena is saying it's only an extern. No, it's the class right before you go to extern. So you'll be doing it with us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a 6-week class. It's the last practical class that you will be taking. So. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So 2 minutes left. Does anybody want to sneak in a final question? Mm-hmm. Last chance. All right. Well, will we learn sugar-free desserts? I don't think we do any sugar.
No, we don't cover sugar-free.
No. It's one of those things where if you want to do sugar-free baking, you can, but we don't provide those formulas. That's something you'll have to find on your own. Rashina's asking, when will the items arrive? It's like we were talking about at the top of the hour. It will depend on if your financial aid has all gone through and is all squared away, and if you have ordered your chef's coat. If you have done both of those things, contact shipping at escoffier.edu. They should be able to help you out with when that stuff is going to arrive.
Yeah, your chef instructors don't have access to tracking numbers or anything like that.
All right, so I want to thank you all for coming out this evening. It's awesome when these classes, when y'all come to the class, it's much more engaging, so I do appreciate it. Like I said, if you have any other questions, jump into my office hours tomorrow. Or shoot me a text message, as I'll be happy to answer. If I'm awake and I'm not driving, you'll probably get an answer. Yeah, it's thank you all for jumping in. Don't worry if you joined late. I'm going to get the archive uploaded to the orientation class page as soon as my computer will let me. Sometimes it will take as late as tomorrow morning because the internet has a mind of its own. I don't know how to fix that, but the archive will go up on the page tomorrow morning at the latest.
Mhm. And again, so Chef Ryan, all of faculty, we will be gone starting Friday, we will be gone until January 8th. So we'll have out of office reminders. So if you send us a message, you'll get kind of kicked back that we're out. Feel free to reach out to student support if you're having a technical issue. The coaches will be grading your practice assignments. You can always reply to them if you have questions on the feedback they give, and also be in touch with your admissions rep who you worked with to sign up for the program. And then, well, we will all be back on the 8th when classes go live.
Awesome. So, thank you all again for coming out. I do appreciate it.
Thank you, Chef.
You have a great night. Thanks for coming out, Chef Ann.
Bye.